Hail, you nostalgic sharkeologists.
Welcome to the annual crossover between This Enduring Life
902 and Here We Go. I'm Kendra Mickles from 902 and Here We Go.
I'm Steve Rudd from This Enduring Life.
I'm Nick Gunning from both. I'm a Renaissance man.
Our shows are brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network.
True. Today, for Shark Week, we are discussing the sci-fi original film Sharknado 5, Global Swarming.
This movie was released on August 6th, 2017.
Wow.
Kendra, let's check out the Beverly Beat.
We guarantee the Beverly Beat is the best advertising you'll ever get.
Several birthdays to mention that are, related to our shows.
Yeah.
August 8th, Anne Gillespie, who plays Jackie Taylor, turned 60.
Alrighty.
August 10th, Rebecca Gayheart, who plays Tony Marchette McKay, turned 33. August 11th, Ian McDermott, who plays Palpatine, turned 73.
Love that he played old Palpatine like in the 70s, 80s, and then came back to play young Palpatine like 15 years later or whatever.
That one confuses me because I feel like he's always been 73.
That's true. That is true.
August 12th, Yvette Nicole Brown, who plays Lieutenant Corvette Valeria in Freemaker Adventures Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation, turned 46.
Okay.
That's a long title.
It is.
Deaths, February 19th, Chris Wiggins, who voiced Mon Julpa on Star Wars Droids, died at 87.
This is serious, Steve. We're talking about Mon Julpa's death.
I'm sorry about Mon Julpa.
Mon Julpa. All right. Sorry, Kendra. You weren't on that episode, but it was a lot.
May 4th, Jim Crana, who voiced the Ewok Whittle Warwick in Caravan of Courage and Tebow in Ewoks, died at 73.
Yeah.
Man, too soon, too early. 73.
No, I know. Still time for a reboot.
Yep.
Often don't read these until I'm reading them, and I think I'm doing okay.
I think you're doing great. You really are doing great. I saw the panic in your eyes as Mon Julpa came up on screen, but you did it.
August 20th, legendary comedian Jerry Lewis died at 91.
Lady! Yeah, Jerry Lewis.
Man, what was it? What was the Cinderella one he did? Misterella? No, it's the Cinderfella.
Cinderfella, yeah. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good. Yep.
Movies, August 4th, The Dark Tower, based on the novel by Stephen King and starring Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba, flopped in theaters.
That was so bad. That was a bad movie. I mean, I don't really like
I never
those
saw
books,
it because I heard it was bad.
But that movie was something else. It was like completely incoherent.
It was tough to watch. It was tough to track what was going on.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I keep saying I'm going to read the books, but I haven't gotten around to those yet.
That would have felt like you should have read the books first. But
Stephen King says those are like his, like if you ask him what his best books are, he says The Dark Tower. I disagree, but that's what Stephen King says.
August 18th, The Hitman's Bodyguard, starring Ryan Reynolds and Star Wars alum Samuel L. Jackson, hit theaters.
I haven't seen it.
It was
but
okay.
They just came out with a new one, right? The Hitman's
It's been a couple years.
Wife.
Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
This was like their run of like they had this one. They had like the Code Red move. Like it was like a Ryan Reynolds action like sequence of movies. That one he's with
that's
Rock
true.
and Gal Gadot.
Yeah, that's right.
And, like
Red Notice. Yeah.
Red Notice. That's it. And there was
Red Notice was bad.
Yeah. And then there was that other one where he's like Six Underground or something like. Yeah. He's like, was in this
don't talk about that
really
movie.
bad like action flicks all right in a row. This was one of them.
Underground 6 was the biggest waste of time I think I've ever spent in front of a
so forgettable.
screen.
Really? Because I watched Sharknado
so
5 yesterday, so I'm not sure if that can really be true.
I bet you'll remember it. Also on August 18th, Logan Lucky, starring Daniel Craig and 90210 alum Hilary Swank, debuted. This
Man,
is
I
a
was
good movie.
I was like asleep at the wheel when I was writing these. There's so many mistakes in here, Kendra. You really are doing a great job.
Is that really how you spell Daniel Craig?
I know it's
No,
not. That's what I
no
mean. I
way.
don't know.
Daniel
But luckily-
Craig.
I don't know. Yeah.
I've seen Logan Lucky, so I knew what he was trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah,
thank you.
Logan Lucky is a really good movie.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's on my list.
it? Oh,
What's
I
his
was
face?
like,
I
oh.
can't believe you didn't put Adam Driver is in that, and he's
Oh,
Is he?
yeah, he's like the best part of that movie.
That's right. Oh my gosh. What a
He's
double
the wild
whammy.
card, man. Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
he was so
Okay.
good.
All right.
I forgot Hilary Swank was in it. I just thought it was Daniel Craig and Ben Solo. You know.
I was just so excited to find a 90210 alum movie and a Star Wars alum movie that I guess I just didn't go deep enough to see Adam Driver.
yeah.
Sorry.
TV January 26th, Riverdale, based on the Archie comics, debuted on the CW, featuring Luke Perry in his final series regular role. Shannon Doherty also appeared in the series.
That's true.
I
I
actually
liked
like
it for
that
a
show.
while.
Yeah,
I fell off of it.
me too. My wife and I were just like, oh, they keep trying to one up every season.
It's
till
true.
just like
Yeah.
when it got to that game when they were playing the Dungeons and Dragons type game, that was just like, all right, they're starting to kill me now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to lose interest. Like,
It really is
it's
a
a little
lot.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
July 3rd, Star Wars Forces of Destiny debuted on YouTube and would later stream on Disney+.
Steve and I just covered the Ewok episodes from that series
did.
just a few
Pretty
episodes
good.
back. Yeah.
Good quality work.
September 24th, Star Trek Discovery debuted on CBS All Access and ran for a total of 65 episodes.
That's true.
About
That's true.
60 episodes too long, in my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair.
There were a couple good episodes.
Yeah,
I mean, there
five.
were a couple good
About
episodes.
5 good episodes.
About five. Oh man.
And
oh jeez.
29th, Marvel's The Inhumans begins its one-season run on ABC.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that happened.
Yeah. So did everybody. I was so shocked when Anson Mount showed up in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as Black Bolt. I was like, oh, okay, so that show was real. I hadn't made it up. So
Wow.
surprising. Yep.
All right, Nick, take us beyond the zip code.
Okay, well, our Star Wars link today is the iconic Olivia Newton-John. She stars, of course, in Grease and Xanadu, but here she cameos as Orion, a very weird part. But I guess they're like, we're in Australia, so we need Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, of course.
But prior to this, she appeared as Princess Olivia in a Star Wars spoof called Scar Wars for Bob Hope's 1977 Christmas special. The special ends with Mark Hamill showing up in full costume as Luke Skywalker to rescue her.
Oh my goodness.
So there you go.
Amazing.
Sounds better than the original Christmas
Yeah,
holiday
that's
special.
true. That is true. It is better. It's shorter and better. Stevie, do you want to hit us with the uber detailed plot, or at least the wiki synopsis for Sharknado
Yeah.
5?
Let's go. Yeah, because you can't write anything on this. This is like something is happening every 10 seconds.
Yeah,
you just
I don't-
can't write about it.
I don't believe this was written at all. I think a lot of bad ideas were tossed in a blender and just whatever came out.
All right, well, I'll take us out. Uber detailed plot of the wiki synopsis of Sharknado 5, Global Swarming. After
Okay.
a fearfully brief period of peace, things are getting really serious as a fact-finding expedition led by Sharknado's sister, Nova, about the origins of the devastating phenomenon accidentally triggers a wave of ferocious and bigger-than-ever Sharknadoes, with the prehistoric Stonehenge as the epicenter. As a result, while the annihilating Sharknado batters down the British capital, Finn's young son, Gil, gets sucked into the heart of a brutal cyclone, with minimal chaos of survival. Inevitably, Finn Shepard, an international hero and the only man in the world qualified for the job, along with his intrepid bionic spouse, April, must track down the Sharknado with that rapidly transforms into the unimaginable, a global abnormality that wreaks havoc across its way. Now Finn and April are against the world because this time it's personal.
That was Jaws 4. You can't say it's personal about Sharknado 5 when that's the tagline from Jaws 4. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's personal. This time
Yeah.
it's personal.
Nick, who's living in Beverly Hills?
Today's episode was directed once again by Anthony C. Ferrante, who does cameo as always. But we have a new writer this time. This was written by Scotty Mullen, who has written several things like this. He's sort of known for this kind of thing. So right at home here in the Sharknado franchise. But this is the first one not written by Thunder Levin. And I don't think there's any visible signs of either improvement or degradation. I think they're just as bad as...
Yeah, they kept it...
You know,
kept it
like
even.
the quality, the needle of quality didn't move. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Returning players include 90210 star Ian Ziering as Finn Shepard. Of course, he played Steve on both 90210 and Melrose Place. We have, against anyone's better judgment, Tara Reid back as April Wexler.
Why? Everyone died in this except... Well, I mean, she does at the end, but I was like, could we have killed her earlier?
I know. I don't know what they're thinking.
She should have died when she died originally.
Do you know what I wish? I wish that, like, after the first movie, when they saw, like, how terrible she was in this, that they would have switched and made her become, like, a villain. You know, like, let her show up as a villain every once in a while.
Queen or something.
Then we could have done romance. We could have done, I don't know. There's just no stakes because, like, I just don't care about her. Okay. Cassandra Serbo returns as Nova. We last saw her in number 3. And there was a little, at the end of Sharknado 4, there was a little tag where it was like, I think we found Nova. And so this kind of pays that off because it really, that picks right up from the post-credits of The Fourth Awakens. And finally, we have Cody Lindley returning as Matt Shepard. New players include Billy Barrett as an older Gil Shepard. I think he was like a baby or a tot. I don't know. He was little.
He was
last
a little
time.
kid. Yeah, real little.
Confusing. So the little kid version of Gil is played by Billy Barrett, who was in things like Mary Poppins Returns and Kraven the Hunter. So obviously this kid can pick a hit. We have Dolph Lundgren cameos as an older Gil at the end.
Love that.
We have Portia Williams as Andromeda. She was in shows like Zootopia Plus and Insecure. We have Chris Kattan as the Prime Minister. I'm not sure what was worse, the writing in this or Chris Kattan's British accent. Because they were...
It wasn't worse than Clay Aiken's British accent.
That's true. That's true. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, that was
Clay Aiken plays Llewellyn, basically the Q of this series. Yeah. Clay Aiken. Chris Kattan is known, of course, for SNL, The Middle, and Corky Romano. Corky is dead to me. Have you guys seen that movie? He's like the son of a mob. It's like
I've seen that.
Falk. Okay, yeah. Like
I should buy a boat. Yeah, and he's like,
there you go.
He's all hopped up.
Exactly. We have Nichelle Nichols as Secretary General Starr. She is best known for her role as the grandma in Heroes, I think. Or she also played Uhura in Star Trek. So maybe that's where
that role. Yeah,
maybe you saw that. Our 90210 link, and this was I went through. Listen, I combed IMDb to try to find either a Star Wars link or a 90210 link for these people, and it was not easy. The only thing I could find was David Naughton. David Naughton plays Ambassador Kessler, and he also played Lou Chandler on Melrose Place. So there you go. That's the best I can do for a connection. But he also voiced Reed Richards in Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. Steve and I were just talking about that series. We were talking about X-Men Legends, which is a great game. Ultimate Alliance is basically like X-Men Legends 3 and brings in more characters. Also super fun. But that's it. That is our cast. So let me ask you this first, guys. Had anyone seen this before?
No.
I had not seen this one. No. This is where I ended.
Is this the first one that you're watching for the first time on this podcast, Steve?
I am, yeah.
Okay. All right, because you had seen 4 before.
I had seen 1 through 4, yeah.
Okay, all right. So these last 2, as soon as Thunder Levin left, you were like, "Forget it. He's the glue holding this together. I can't go on."
I just was watching all the way to the Hoff, and then once Hoff wasn't in it anymore.
Sure. Yeah. Right away, I was delighted by the Indiana Jones title sequence.
Yes,
we get the Sharknado is in the Indiana Jones font, and then very, very clearly spoofing Raiders of the Lost Ark and everything. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. I think what I learned about this, and I feel this every time, is that all I really need out of these movies is that post-credit scene. Because that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun for me. And then the title credits came up, and I was like, "Oh no! Now there's a whole movie left." But I thought, Because remember, the last one started really fun too, and then it had that like real groovy like '60s Sharknado theme.
Yeah, it
that
did.
came
Yeah.
on. Strong starts for both movies, so I like that. What did you guys think of sort of the intro? Did you like that?
I thought it was
Uh,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
going big or going home.
Yeah,
I think it's a fun
Yeah.
concept to kind of start the movie and then do the title sequence. It reminds me of like James Bond, where there's
Yeah.
always like a mission and then the title sequence and then the movie actually starts, right?
Yeah.
There's like that aspect of it. I think that's fun. I think that's like
Yeah.
an old style, way to do it. Well, not old. I guess I would say like when did they do that? In like the 90s, 70s, 80s?
Yeah, all
kind
the
of
way
thing? That
through.
was like I feel like you never see a movie now that does that. Just
That's
ever.
true. It doesn't happen as often. Well, I think one thing that the series has done, like the first one was a pretty straightforward, just schlocky, like shark horror, whatever action movie. And as they've gone on, like the pop culture spoofs have almost become equal to the Sharknado of it
Yes.
all. Like we had so
Yeah.
many in this. James Bond, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones. There was some Scarface references, like Star Trek. There's a lot of Star Trek
Yeah, a
references.
lot of Star Trek.
When Nichelle
Star
Nichols showed up.
Wars.
So
Got a bad
yeah,
feeling.
I guess that's kind of happening. Finn at one point is like, "Sharks. Why did it have to be sharks?"
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I thought-
is like that.
that was good.
I thought that
Yeah.
was. I thought that was pretty fun. In general, what did you think? Mayhem level. How does this compare to the others?
I mean, it's like you said, it's pretty even. Like
Yeah.
a good steady flow of celebrities being eaten by sharks. Though I feel like it's kind of like the first half was more of that, and then the second half was just trying to get Gil out of a tornado
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
I guess it was crazy. I guess that's kind of why I liked whatever you want to call it, the post credits, the cold or the pre credits, the cold open. Like
Mhm.
I like that we just boom right in. The Sharknado is happening. Like that was really fun. And I did like my attitude got progressively worse as time went on, and I think it was because it did kind of get away from that premise. I guess the kid is just swirling at 500 miles per hour in a tornado for most of this movie.
Yeah. I did like all the like not world hopping, country hopping. Like first we're in London and then we go to Australia and then we go to Japan and we see like famous people from each of those places.
Well, it was a global swarming, Kendra. That's just what happens.
Yeah. And I liked it.
Yeah, I liked that too. I thought that it was very clever. For me, that was like that's an easy way. Because I mean, like what in the past movies, it was kind of like, oh, they're in this country and they're in this country and then they're in this place, and you're like, that would take like days.
Yeah,
to get there. Like, remember, I think it was the fourth one where it was like literally all over the United States.
Yeah.
Like the Sharknado was like in Reno, and all of a sudden it was in Chicago, and you're like, what? That's like that would take several days to get there. Like
they were just like, there's a portal. Just deal with it.
Yeah, I thought,
There's a
there you
portal.
go. That was a good idea. That's all we needed to suspend our disbelief.
Yeah. I kind of liked that they were giving it a mythology, because before it was just always like, what a freak accident with tornadoes and sharks.
Keeps happening.
And now it's like there's this whole like evil shark force and like evil shark cult and everything.
Shark
At
god.
least I think that's what was happening. I was so hard to pay attention.
I hope the next one delves into that, where there is like a shark cult. That'd be so great.
Well, she had her like shark sisterhood.
Yeah,
she did. The Shark Sisters. I agree with Kendra. I do like that cold opening. I think that was really fun. But I think what lost it for me was that it just like kind of picked up right after that. It didn't like set a tone of like, okay, this is what's going on. This is what we're going to do. This is the plan. Then later on the plan doesn't work and they have to figure out a way to do it anyway. Like they didn't do that. They didn't kind of establish what was going on well enough that I was just kind of like, all right, like this is okay. Like, this is what we're doing, like, and it lost the story. I like what you said about the cameo kind of just, it felt like this one, the cameo started to really take over the story rather than like progressing any of like what's actually going on, and became too distracting. Though this was the one I looked up people the least. Like I did it on Amazon and you could just like push up on the remote.
Right.
and he'll tell you who it is. Actually, one of like the two people I looked up was David Naughton. I was just like, this guy's been in a few scenes already. Like, I have no idea who he is. So I looked him up.
Okay.
But yeah, this one, the cameos were almost too distracting, and a lot of them were people I didn't know. They looked almost like half the cast was like housewives of UK, housewives of like
a lot of actual news reporters and things. And I'm like,
there's a lot of news reporters. Yeah,
I guess that makes sense if you know who those people are. But things like Clay Aiken showing up as basically the Q stand-in, and like Charo as the Queen. It was I didn't really.
It was weird. Oh, and Fabio as the Pope.
Fabio as the Pope.
Was the Pope.
Yeah.
That was. Oh my gosh.
I wrote at one point. This is a direct quote from my notes. Tara Reid being Iron Man is smart. And I think that only in the context of Sharknado does that sentence make sense. But I feel like what they've done with Tara Reid, they've tried to sideline her in several movies, which was wise. And this time, it's like they made it such a joke that she is first Iron Man-y and then later more basically an android. And they just keep making her more and more ridiculous, I think, to just kind of disguise the fact that she's not an actress, and I think that did help a little bit, but the few times where they were called on for her to actually act, brutal.
Yeah, really brutal. It just, I thought this was, of all the movies, I thought this was her worst performance. I just thought it was just.
She had to scream a lot.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
so much yelling.
That raspy scream too. It's intolerable.
When we get to our 90210 snaps and Ichiwawas and Okavarks, I have more to say about that scream. So I definitely noticed that. When they're in the NATO scene, and that's when Nichelle Nichols is like, we're a federation of countries, and you've gone where no man's gone before, all that stuff. When the sharks start attacking the people in NATO, someone yells, "It's a NATO," and I genuinely laughed out loud at that. I thought that was funny. So
I thought that scene was really cool. I actually had to go. I rewound it and watched it again. It almost seemed like when Nichelle Nichols was delivering her lines, nobody was acting anymore. They were all just watching her.
I agree.
You go back and watch the scene. I'm like, she must have this matriarchal presence when she's in the room, doing her lines, that everyone was like, whoa, and just watching her rather than acting. It was so funny. I was like, whoa, that was really weird. It had this. So I rewound it and I was like, yeah, everyone's just watching her.
They just completely stopped. Yeah.
They just completely stopped to just listen to her. It was great.
The scene with Geraldo, I mean, again, that's another weird pull. Geraldo Rivera.
I thought he was cast perfectly, though. It was so good.
I also thought that was funny. And then he has this secret weapon in a vault, and he goes and opens the vault, and it's just empty. Again, I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought there was something in there.
Yeah.
He doesn't even say what it is. It's something. Yeah. Something was in there. Yeah. I thought something was in there.
And Finn is talking about he's dangerous, and he's like, me? You threw a bomb in a tornado. He lists all these crazy things that Finn did. It was
so good.
It was a pretty funny little scene.
I liked the Sydney Opera House turning into
a transformer or something. Yeah. I liked one of the Australian news channel guys was like, I thought it was just an overrated piece of architecture, but
I wrote that down in my notes too because I thought that was so good.
Yep.
I just thought it was an overrated piece of architecture.
Yeah. So Olivia Newton-John has I think there was a Xanadu reference in there, but I don't really know Xanadu that well. There were definitely Grease stuff. There's the "Tell Me About It" stud that they kind of say, and then she says, "Don't get too physical," which is an Olivia Newton-John song.
She did say that.
When they have to call in the Hawk, and it's just Tony Hawk skateboarding on the Sydney Opera House again,
skateboarding uphill with his boosters.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah.
I was definitely there for that. I don't know why. I mean, they kind of sidelined the older son, but I liked how they used him. Thought his scenes were pretty good. I mean, I think he's a pretty solid actor. I don't know. Yeah, and then we sort of get to the end where things are really going off the rails, and the whole world is being destroyed by sharks and everything. That whole scene between Tara Reid and Ian Ziering, I feel was maybe the worst part. And I feel so bad for him because, like, even in these movies, I think he is genuinely good. And he has to play, like, sad when she's dying and worried about her and everything. And it's just absurd, because he's, like, doing it. And then on the other hand, there's Tara Reid, and it's just a rough watch,
Yeah, that whole, like, the Nova scene, too, when she's like, oh, Gil's dead, and it's just like nobody thought to just like look at Tara Reid's wrist.
Yeah.
Because they've been tracking him the whole time. Like,
right.
Nah, it says he's alive right here. Like, okay. And they could have just completely mulled over that. Like, nope, he's still alive. Just you're dying,
Yeah.
Like, stop bringing him into it. Like all of that, the movie took a really, you almost felt the movie change from being like funny cameo stuff to all about getting his son back.
Yeah.
That was like the movie shifted completely. Like Kendra said, that you almost felt it when you're like, oh, what are we doing now? Like, it's all about this.
I think it's kind of an interesting dilemma that they're in because, like, it is still, like, even though it's absurd and stupid, like, you still have to fill 90 minutes. And I sort of appreciated the idea that, like, in this one, the Sharknado for Finn was, like, secondary to him rescuing his son. I kind of like that he had a different motivation. Like, that would work in a real movie, but this is Sharknado, and so it was kind of like, I don't know, like, to have a secondary objective like that kind of throws things off a little bit. But
it was weird because he was just always in the Sharknado rather than, like, wouldn't it have been better if he portaled and then it kind of had to, like, portal chase him to different, like, oh, go to Egypt. Okay, now they're in Rio and now they're in the Swiss Alps or something like that at one point. It's just like, it would have been cool for that to happen rather than they were, like, chasing the tornado and then getting portaled somewhere else.
Yeah.
But then it was just like this doesn't make any sense. It had no cohesiveness that would drive the actual storyline together when it would have just been easy as that. Like, oh no, he portaled into Egypt, and they check on the thing and they're like, oh, he's in Egypt. We got to, like, jump in and go after him. Like, things like that. I don't know. It's just been better, but it was just like, he's literally stuck in this tornado, and they said at one point he's going like 500 miles an hour. And it's like, that kid was going 500 miles an hour for a really long time. Like,
yeah.
I feel like he would have died by
he's not okay.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Child. Yeah.
He's not okay. And then we end where it sort of is like Finn is the only one left alive, and then Gil makes his reappearance, this time as an older Dolph Lundgren, who is doing Back to the Future, basically, which was pretty fun. The last one had the post-credit scene that kind of set up the next one, but this is the first true cliffhanger.
Yeah,
don't you think? I mean, this is the first time it's like it doesn't resolve.
This is a to be continued, where the other one was just kind of like hook into the next
I
one,
kept
really.
looking at the time, and I was like, wow, this is going to be a bummer of a ending. Like, there's only 2 minutes left. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, that's... I guess I like that they... in some ways, I feel like they made smart decisions with this Sharknado. Like, probably 6 is too many of the movies, but it kind of seemed like people were right with it, and I like that they're kind of ramping up to a big finale, though I don't know what they could do that's bigger. They just destroyed the whole world. But...
we're going to have to fix it now. There's a whole movie of fixing it.
I guess
going back
so.
in time.
I guess so. But I like that we get a fight. Like, it's called The Last Sharknado. Like, it's really the end next time around. So, I don't know. Every time I feel like, oh, this is going to be fun. And then every time I'm like, no, this isn't fun at all. This is...
well, I think, I
90
thought
minutes.
What was it? The nuclear waste Sharknado was kind of a fun concept that just like that whole scene was weird to me too, as they're like watching the jet fighters, like, my son's in there, and then it's just like the jet fighters are going in and like launching missiles and blowing it up, and I'm like, none of them are like, no, my son's in there, like, call him off. And it's like they're like, oh, he died, and it's like, did he just happen to die, or did he just get blown up by like a tomahawk?
We're not sure.
Like, let's be honest here.
Unclear.
That was I was like, that's really weird. Like, this is what we're doing with, they're flying through nuclear waste.
Yeah.
And with missiles, and just Nova just kind of leaks it out.
They called it a Sharkzilla at one point. So they were really swinging for the fences with this one.
Yeah.
So I don't think it won any Academy Awards. I should check, but I don't think it. I'm not.
Oh,
I don't think
probably
it
not
did.
even nominated. Although
Yeah.
it should have been
A
nominated.
Razzie,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe a
Yeah.
Razzie.
Razzie.
All
yeah.
right, let's move on to our questions here. Kendra, you want to do the first one here?
Hey guys, what's your 90210 snap?
Okay, so Steve, this is like normally in 90210 we would pick like the most dramatic moment. So maybe not the best, but the most like whoa moment. I'm gonna give it to the robot makeover where Tara Reid like reveals herself with her pink hair and her outfit and is like, I am machine now. That was my 90210 snap. What about you, Steve? Give me a dramatic moment.
I think mine was the overly. I mean, I kind of have it as one of my Okavarks, but it was definitely overdone. Was the spin April spin moment?
Oh,
Like,
yes.
and it just ended up ruining everything. And I was like, what in the world was all that? That was like somebody's good idea. Like, oh yeah, we should totally do this with the ski. And then I was just like, what is happening? Like, this is too much.
Didn't happen.
That was it for me. Yeah. It
Okay.
was too much.
Kendra, your drama moment?
I'll give it to what's her face's death.
Nova.
What's her name? Nova's death.
Nova's death. Okay, good call.
Yeah, very dramatic.
All right, we got our Ichiwawa moment. Man, for me, I had a couple things. I thought the portals were cool. Like when that first happened, I was like, good idea. Like I'm willing to accept that. I thought it was kind of fun. But for me, it was the Opera House battle station.
Yeah.
Especially when the guy said it's an overrated. I just thought it was an overrated piece of architecture. I thought that was so much fun because, like, I remember when I was a kid and I first saw like a picture of it, and I was like, "Whoa, what is that building? That's so cool!" And then my parents were like, "Oh, it's an opera house," and I was like, "Oh, lame!
Bummer.
Why? What a cool looking thing!" And that's what you do in there? Oh,
Yeah.
lame.
That's too bad.
But yeah, what about you, Kendra? What was your Ichiwawa moment?
So, it's random, but it made me laugh when it happened. I forget the context, but all of a sudden they have to snowboard down a hill, and the kids aren't all right by the Offspring start playing.
That
they're
was
just
great.
like snowboarding. That
Really made me smile, that scene, because I'd have that like in my headphones skiing down the hill for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it was
That's good.
What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I've got to give it to the Back to the Future ending. I mean, I
knew it.
know, Gil shows up, older Gil, Dolph Lundgren shows up, and they do sort of. He says, "Where we're going, we don't need licenses," and I thought that was kind of lame. They could have done a better one, but I liked the way his time machine like goes and backs up and then drives right into the screen, and we get the to be continued. It was like the exact Back to the Future shot, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we thought was not cool, and I know it's going to be hard, but let's talk Okavarks, and we've already talked about mine, and it is that Tara Reid scream, because she has to do it a lot, and it is like, I know, but every time she does it, it's just like it's not the way a human would scream. There's no modulation.
Well, she's not human, to be fair.
I don't think she can go high with her voice. I don't think she can do like a shrilly scream.
This is just. It's just like somebody pressing a low note on a keyboard and just sustaining it. Crazy. I mean, just not a bit of humanity in that scream. And it kept happening, and it was like really grating on me. I was like, this has to stop, or I'm going to throw this DVD player. What about you, Kendra?
Mine is what your 90210 snap was. Her post-surgery outfit is so... and she's in it for the rest of the movie.
She is.
It's like, did we describe it? It's like a pink, spiky bra with like a black jacket over it, and her hair is streaked pink. It's really, really bad.
It's pretty bad.
When she walked out, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah. And then you're right. We did have to look at it the whole time.
It reminded me of like what Avril Lavigne's like weird pink.
That's true.
Sugar skull phase that she went through.
True. It was kind of
Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
Well, Avril Lavigne can pull it off.
I agree.
She can,
But yes.
Because she's not 112 years old.
All right.
For me, I mean, my worst moment, I had a couple. It was that April spin thing where I was just like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. And it went on for far too long. She's like, she did the same thing you said, where she's like, And then the whole time it's just like, oh, jeez. But I thought
stupid.
Clay Aiken looked horrible.
Oh,
I don't know why. I just thought he looked. I was like, whoa, he did not age well, and that haircut.
I didn't
just,
recognize him. I didn't
please,
even
no,
recognize him. I don't know what
I didn't
happened.
recognize
I
him
was like,
either.
oh, that's Clay Aiken.
And I looked up I looked up like IMDb, and I was like, Clay Aiken was Llewellyn. Oh man, he looks bad. That was the moment, and I was like, I'm writing that down. I was like, I didn't even know it was Clay Aiken either because he looks terrible.
That's so funny. I recognized him instantly.
The April 2.0, that's what I wrote down. I agree with Kendra. When she came out, I was just like,
yeah,
we're gonna watch this.
Yeah.
And then I paused it and I was like, for another 53 minutes. No. I was like, this is so bad.
I checked this DVD out from the library and I watched it on a little portable DVD player. And there was I couldn't check the timestamps or anything. And I think that was a godsend because I think had I known how much longer I had left in the movie, I wouldn't have been able to get through it. So that was a saving grace.
You know, it's funny. I could completely forgotten that she was like a total android because I remember it was like first it was like her arm.
Right.
And then I was like, wait a minute, in the last movie, so she lost her arm in like the third movie or something. Or maybe it was the second. I don't know. Somewhere in there, she lost her entire body. And I just like could not remember her losing her entire body.
It all blends together. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about favorite cameos, but let's hear them. What's everybody's favorite cameo?
I talked about mine, so.
Oh, hit it, Kendra. What is it?
Oh yeah.
So it's blink and you miss it. But as you know, I'm obsessed with the Olympics and Olympians in general. So when they're in London,
I know exactly.
We see. I don't know if you do. Okay, well,
I do.
We see Tom Daly, who is now I think he's Britain's most decorated diver. And most recently at the 2024, he won silver, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I love him. I love watching him. I love following him on Instagram. And his thing is like when he's not diving, when he's sitting there waiting, he's like constantly knitting. So his Instagram is just very fun to follow. But I had to go back. I was like, was that Tom Daly? And I backed it up and he like dives off the bridge right into a shark's mouth.
Oh yeah,
he's safe in the water.
That's right. That's the one. Yeah,
he's that guy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for me, Kendra, I looked up 3 people. One of them was that guy David Naughton. The second one was it Tim Daly?
Tom Daly.
Tom Daly. I looked him up because I was like, wait a minute. Who was that? Like it was just such like an aside.
Yeah,
scene.
It was kind of a little
like,
featured.
That's got to be
moment,
somebody. So I looked him up. I was like, oh yeah, it's a diver. Oh, what a perfect thing for him to be like diving in and just getting caught. So I looked him up, and then for shoot, what are we doing? We're doing cameo, right? So
favorite cameo.
I mean, obviously, Uhura. I loved that scene.
Sure.
I thought Geraldo was great. I thought he just was perfectly cast. You just put a pair of like steampunk goggles on Geraldo.
He already has the mustache, so
and he's got the mustache. You put him in a tweed vest and steampunk goggles, and he's already in the role. Yep. But I thought it's also one of my favorite deaths. But the apparently it's Abby Lee Miller is this woman. They're running down the street after the UN or the NATO meeting, and she's like, "Oh, what happened to one of the other NATO people?" And they're like, "Oh, he was killed." And she goes, "Oh, that's okay. Everyone's replaceable." And then boom, just she.
Oh, yeah, she's the dance mom's.
She's the dance mom. Yeah. She's like apparently choreographer.
Oh, okay.
But so my absolute favorite though, and I always look for him, and this time I did not find him. I had to look him up. But Anthony Ferrante's always in. Yeah. And I watched the movie. I was like, man, I didn't see him. So then I Googled it, and it says, yeah, he's not in this movie. And I was like, oh. So then I IMDb'd, and it says he's Dundee. But there's nobody named Dundee. He's the chopper pilot that picks them up.
Oh, okay.
I had to look for. I went back. I was like Dundee. Okay, so it's when they're in Australia. So I had to go back rewind to Australia, and I watched all of Australia, and he comes up right away. And I was like,
Wow.
so if you don't miss, if you miss that whole scene, you're not really paying attention. He's gone. But that's
Yeah.
him. He's the chopper pilot.
I can't. You said you rewatched a scene. That's dedication.
I rewatched a couple scenes because I was just
Wow.
like, wait a minute, what?
Okay.
Did I miss
All right.
did the story change or something?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
All right. Well, you already touched on favorite deaths, so let's get to it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a favorite shark death and a favorite human death.
Me too.
Okay. Okay. All
I
right.
always I do it kill though. Favorite kill because it's
Okay.
a shark. Favorite
All right.
death.
My favorite human death is in the beginning where Chris Kattan and his, I don't know who she is, like his chief
Mine.
of staff. Oh, is it? And they're like,
Yeah.
she's like, I love
Yeah.
you. And he's like, it's about time. And they're about to kiss. And a giant shark just falls out of the sky. It just
Yeah.
lands on her. I think
so good.
that's pretty funny.
That was pretty
And
good.
then my favorite shark death was the figure skater. She's just skating, like living her life, and a shark comes and she does like a big spin, and her skate just cuts the shark in half. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I didn't say my favorite cameo. It was Bret Michaels. It was Bret Michaels
Oh,
when
I
they're
forgot
like,
about him. Yeah.
I just killed Bret Michaels, and he's like, no, I'm okay. And then
No,
he's just
I'm
on
good. Yeah.
he's just on the front of the bus, like playing while they're driving
Doing
through,
like a
and
Mad
like
Max
Yeah.
style.
Ian
Yeah.
Ziering like is on the side of the bus and like jumps out and kicks a shark with his feet and swings back in.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. So that was my favorite cameo. All right, but Kendra, favorite death, favorite kill.
So when Chris Kattan actually dies was
Okay,
because he's
yeah.
like, let's do this, and immediately gets
Yeah.
squashed by a giant
Yeah.
shark.
After he's already lost a leg, lost his love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about favorite kill. I mean, I always love it when he chainsaws
Sure.
Oh
a
yeah.
shark in half, and that
You have
happens.
to.
So
Yep.
I'll
Yep.
say that.
All
He
right.
sword
Steve.
cuts one in half too.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve? What are yours?
Mine was I just loved it so much. I don't know who this woman is. I'm sure she's like one of those reality TV people. But when the Sharknado is heading towards like a palace in the UK, and these two women are like having tea in the garden, and she's like, Francesca, take me my parasol. And just like pikes the shark that comes out. I just thought that was. I was like,
Okay. All right.
hand me my parasol, and then I was like, okay, that was pretty funny. I like
All right.
that.
All right.
That was my favorite kill for
Okay.
sure.
All right. How do you think this rates? I'm not going to give it a star rating. I think that'd be cruel. But how do you think it rates with the other movies? I guess I just have no sense for it anymore. I'd say they all just
I
kind
know,
of feel the same and run together. I think that this was maybe my favorite like opening sequence, like the Indiana Jones into
Yeah.
like the early London attack with Bret Michaels and all that. Like I felt like the opening was really strong. But the rest of the movie, because it had some major slowdowns and stuff, maybe wasn't my favorite. But I don't like any of them, so it's really it's hard to say.
I thought this one was better, in my opinion. I thought this one was better than number 2. I thought number 2 was
Okay.
pretty tough to
Two's
watch.
the bad one for you. Okay.
Yeah, I think 2 was a bad one for me. Yeah,
All right, Kendra.
that's the electricity one at New York, right? They got to like
Yeah,
shock.
yeah.
That one was like,
Yeah, it's just kind of on par
Yeah.
for me.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, really. How
We
do you
only
like-
have we only have one more. That's what's wild. I can't
know.
believe
Oh,
we've done
man.
this 5 consecutive years. But yeah, next year it'll be the last Sharknado. It's about time.
It's about
So.
time.
All right. Well, tell us what we'll be talking about in the regular episodes of these podcasts, Steve.
All right, next up on This Endorian Life, we'll be covering the Yoda Chronicles, Secret Plans Revealed. What about you, Kendra?
Okay.
We are still making our way through season 9. There's some super crazy, not crazy, wacky, I guess
Yeah.
is a better word. Wacky
Yeah.
stuff happening.
It's almost
for
as
better or
melodramatic
worse,
as a
so.
Sharknado. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
wild. It's wild to think, Kendra, that we have because there's almost 300 episodes of 90210, and we don't have a lot left. So this has been our life for a long time.
It has.
So
It has.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, I don't like watching the movies, but I like talking to you both. So this was fun.
Yes.
Was.
9021, here we go.
Ichiwawa.